Modern underwater photography can capture haunting yet beautiful images of sunken vessels, allowing us to explore places we might never otherwise see. Many shipwrecks now serve as habitats for coral and marine life, while also attracting scuba divers. Some wrecks, sunk by war or accident, are accessible only by robotic cameras, offering eerie glimpses into the silent world beneath the sea. Undersea treasures, world's most incredible shipwrecks. RMS Rhone, sank in 1867. A British Royal Mail ship, the RMS Rhone met its tragic end in 1867, off the coast of Salt Island in the British Virgin Islands. Launched in 1865, the Rhone was a state-of-the-art vessel for its time, known for its speed and reliability in transporting mail and passengers across the Atlantic. On the 29th of October 1867, the ship was caught in a powerful hurricane, hit a rock and sank, leading to the loss of most of the crew and passengers on board. The wreck is split into two main sections and lies at depths ranging from 30 to 90 feet, 9 to 27 meters, making it accessible to divers of various skill levels. Today, the RMS Rhone is one of the most popular diving sites in the Caribbean. The wreck is remarkably well preserved, with many of its features such as the propeller, decking and even the ship's portholes still visible. Over the years, the Rhone has become a thriving underwater ecosystem home to a variety of marine life, including barracudas, turtles and colorful schools of fish. SS Yongala, sank in 1911. The SS Yongala, a luxury passenger and cargo ship, sank in March 1911 during a powerful cyclone off the coast of Queensland, Australia. Built in 1903, the Yongala was en route from Mackay to Townsville, carrying 122 passengers and crew, along with various cargo, including a racehorse named Moonshine. Unaware of the brewing cyclone due to the lack of radio communication, the ship sailed directly into the storm after being last sighted near Dent Island. The Yongala disappeared without a trace, and all on board perished, making it one of Australia's worst maritime disasters. The wreck of the Yongala remained undiscovered until 1958 when divers located it 48 nautical miles, 89 kilometers, southeast of Townsville, lying on its starboard side in about 98 feet, 30 m, of water. Preserved for decades, the wreck has since become a vibrant artificial reef, teeming with marine life and protected as a historic site within the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. Today, the Yongala is one of the world's most renowned dive sites, offering a unique combination of historical significance and rich underwater biodiversity. RMS Titanic, sank in 1912. On the 15th of April 1912, the RMS Titanic sank in the North Atlantic at around 2:20 a.m. after striking an iceberg and lay undisturbed on the seabed for 73 years. In 1985, the wreck was discovered by a joint French and American expedition and was found in two main sections, approximately 370 miles, 600 kilometers, off the coast of Newfoundland, and about 13 nautical miles, 24 kilometers, from where it had issued its distress signal. A remotely operated vehicle equipped with a camera was sent down to a depth of about 12,500 feet, 3,800 meters, where it captured images of the ship's massive boilers and the bow section, confirming the wreck's identity. In 1986, a deep-diving submersible revisited the Titanic, capturing haunting images including Captain Edward Smith's bathtub, pictured, which captivated the world. In 1987, 1,800 objects were recovered from the wreck, and in 1996 a failed attempt was made to raise a section of the ship. These actions, involving the site where over 1,500 people died, were criticized as grave robbing. In 1995, filmmaker James Cameron made 12 dives to the wreck, using the footage for his 1997 blockbuster movie. Subsequent expeditions have revealed significant disintegration, with rusticles covering much of the structure. Captain Smith's bathroom, for instance, has now completely disappeared. SS Baron Gautsch sank in 1914. The SS Baron Gautsch, once a proud member of the Österreichischer Lloyd passenger fleet, was launched in 1908. Named after a former Austrian prime minister, the ship was stationed at Trieste on the Adriatic Sea. At the outbreak of the First World War, it was requisitioned by the Austro-Hungarian Navy for transporting troops and refugees. On the 12th of August 1914, while returning from Kotor with over 300 passengers, the ship tragically struck a mine and sank within minutes, claiming 127 lives. The wreck, discovered in 1958 in the northern Adriatic, is now a popular but restricted site for scuba divers due to its deteriorating condition. Endurance sank in 1915. In 1914, explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton set off from England on the Endurance with the goal of making the first land crossing of the Antarctic continent by foot. However, the mission faced disaster when the ship became trapped in sea ice in the Weddell Sea in early 1915. Shackleton and his crew had to abandon the Endurance when it was crushed by the ice and sank in November 1915, escaping in small boats and making their way to Elephant Island. From there, they embarked on an epic journey to seek help, eventually leading to the rescue of all crew members. The wreck of the Endurance remained undiscovered in the Weddell Sea for over a century until March 2022, when the Falklands Maritime Heritage Trust located the vessel, remarkably well preserved, on the seafloor. This discovery occurred almost exactly 100 years after Shackleton's death in 1922. The distilled-like water clarity and lack of sea-eating marine life has helped keep the Endurance in eye-wateringly pristine condition. Its five-pointed Polaris star, the name of the ship and even the individual spokes of the ship's wheel are amazingly still all in place. SS Umbria sank in 1940. Built in Hamburg in 1911, the steamship Umbria was designed primarily as a cargo ship, capable of carrying around 10,000 tons of goods. It routinely sailed between Europe and South America, particularly Argentina, transporting cargo and a limited number of passengers. In 1935, the ship was sold to the Italian government and refitted for military use, including transporting supplies and possibly troops to Italian colonies in East Africa. In June 1940, as the Second World War escalated, the SS Umbria arrived in Port Said, Egypt, carrying a large cache of bombs, vehicles and other supplies for the Italian war effort. Upon hearing that Italy had officially entered the war, the ship's captain, Lorenzo Muizin, deliberately scuttled the ship, meaning he ordered it to be sunk to prevent its capture by the British. The wreck now lies under the Red Sea off the coast of Sudan and is a renowned dive site, though it is considered hazardous due to the unexploded ordnance still on board. SS Thistlegorm sank in 1941. The SS Thistlegorm, an armed freighter built in Sunderland in 1940, was carrying military supplies, including motorbikes, trucks and locomotives, to Alexandria, Egypt, when it was bombed by German planes on 6 October 1941. The ship sank near Ras Mohammed in the Red Sea, killing 9 crew members. Most of the crew, however, were rescued. Jacques Cousteau, the renowned French explorer and filmmaker, rediscovered the wreck of the SS Thistlegorm in the early 1950s after hearing local fishermen's tales of a sunken ship loaded with wartime cargo in the Red Sea. Using his innovative aqualung diving equipment, Cousteau located the wreck and found it remarkably well preserved, with its holds still filled with military supplies intended for Allied forces in North Africa. Today, divers can explore the ship's intact cargo and deck, experiencing an underwater museum where history remains frozen in time. Fujikawa Maru sank in 1944. The Caroline Islands, a group of small islands in the Pacific Ocean north of New Guinea, were home to the Japanese Imperial Fleet during the Second World War. At Truk Atoll, one of the most strategic bases in the Pacific, the fleet was anchored when the U.S. Navy launched Operation Hailstone on the 17th to the 18th of February 1944. A massive attack resulting in the sinking of many Japanese ships. One of the vessels struck during the attack was the Fujikawa Maru, a cargo ship launched in 1938. In peacetime, it transported raw silk, cotton and passengers between South America and India. However, during the war, the Fujikawa Maru was requisitioned by the Japanese Navy and armed with naval guns. Today, the wreck of the Fujikawa Maru lies beneath the waters of Chuk Lagoon, where it has become a favorite site for scuba divers. The ship's large size and the numerous artifacts scattered around it such as gas masks, bottles, brass lamps, and rice bowls make it an extraordinary underwater museum. Encrusted with vibrant coral and teeming with marine life, it offers a haunting glimpse into history, as its eerie rooms, engines and guns tell the silent story of a fateful night nearly 80 years ago. Doc Poulson sank in 1981. The Doc Poulson is a deliberately sunken shipwreck located off the coast of Grand Cayman in the Caribbean. Originally a Japanese-built cable-laying vessel, The ship was scuttled in 1981 to create an artificial reef and diving site. Named in honor of Dr. J.H. Doc Poulson, a pioneer in the treatment of decompression sickness, the wreck has since become a popular attraction for divers. Resting at a relatively shallow depth, the Doc Poulson is encrusted with colorful coral and inhabited by a variety of marine life, including grouper, queen conch and other tropical fish. The site offers an accessible and serene underwater experience, making it a favorite among both novice and experienced divers who come to explore the thriving ecosystem that has developed around the wreck over the decades. Yannis D sank in 1983. Launched in 1969 and built in Japan by the Kurishima Dock Company, the general cargo vessel Yannis D experienced several changes in both ownership and name throughout its operational life. It was previously known as Shipwrecks Maru and Marcos before adopting the name Yannis D in April 1983. The ship embarked on its final voyage from the Croatian port of Rijeka, carrying a load of softwood. This journey would be its last. The Yannis D was carrying cargo destined for the Saudi port of Jeddah, with plans to continue to Yemen. The ship sailed smoothly across the Adriatic and Mediterranean seas, passed through the Suez Canal, and entered the Red Sea. However, upon reaching the treacherous waters of Shab Abu Nunes, a hidden reef known for claiming ships, the Yannis D struck the reef. The crew abandoned the vessel, which soon sank beneath the waves. Today, the wreck lies on the seabed in 3 separate sections and has become a favorite spot for scuba divers, drawn to its accessible and intriguing underwater remains. Hilma Hooker sank in 1984. The freighter Hilma Hooker was a ship of secrets. In 1984, when the Dutch-built vessel was already 33 years old, she was moored in a port on the island of Bonaire in the Dutch Caribbean, but was under surveillance by the local authorities. When the captain was unable to provide the correct paperwork, officials boarded the ship and a false bulkhead was discovered. Inside, they found around 11,000 kilograms, 25,000 pounds, of marijuana. Strangely, the ship's owners could not be found. Hilma Hooker languished in port for months, but began taking on water as the hull disintegrated. On the 2nd of September 1984, the ship rolled over to one side and disappeared below the water. Settled between 2 coral reefs, Hilma Hooker has become an attraction for divers and a much-needed refuge for coral and marine life. Eagle sank in 1985. Built in the Netherlands in 1962, the Eagle was a cargo ship that changed hands several times throughout its career. By 1974, it was operating in Haifa, Israel, and in its later years, it was used to transport goods like newspaper and cardboard between Miami and Venezuela. In 1985, while en route to Venezuela, the Eagle suffered an electrical fire that caused extensive damage, leading to the ship being deemed beyond repair. After being docked in Miami, it was decided that the vessel would be scuttled to create an artificial reef. The ship was thoroughly cleaned of hazardous materials and towed to the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. There, it was deliberately sunk near Islamorada, where it has since become a refuge for grouper fish, eels and sharks, as well as a prime diving site, attracting enthusiasts from around the world. Captain Keith Tibbetts sank in 1996. Originally built in 1984 in the Soviet Union as a Kony-class frigate for the Cuban Navy and named Brigadier Delio Chacon, the ship was designed for coastal defense and anti-submarine warfare. After serving in the Cuban Navy, it was acquired by the Cayman Islands government and renamed Captain Keith Tibbetts in honor of a respected local diving instructor. In 1996, the ship was deliberately sunk off the coast of Cayman Brac to create an artificial reef. Today, the wreck has transformed into a vibrant underwater habitat, teeming with coral, grouper, scorpionfish and other marine life. The Captain Keith Tibbetts has become a beloved dive site, offering a unique blend of history and marine biodiversity. Pasewalk sank in 2004. Launched in 1969 in the former East Germany, the Pasewalk was a minesweeper built as part of the Condor I class, designed for coastal and inshore minesweeping operations. While it was primarily used in the Baltic Sea, the Pasewalk played a role in the East German Navy during the Cold War. However, with the fall of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany in 1989, the Pasewalk was deemed obsolete by the newly unified German Navy. The vessel was decommissioned and its armaments removed. The Pasewalk was sold to Malta in 1992, where it was renamed P-31 and repurposed as a patrol boat for the Armed Forces of Malta. The vessel was primarily used for border control operations and to combat smuggling. During its service, P-31 also participated in the rescue of immigrants, including a notable incident where it rescued 251 people from a sinking boat off the south coast of Malta. In 2009, P-31 was decommissioned, purchased by the Malta Tourism Authority, and subsequently cleaned and scuttled near Camino to create an artificial reef and a popular diving attraction. USS Kittiwake sank in 2011. Just offshore from 7 Mile Beach in Grand Cayman lies the wreck of the USS Kittiwake, a Chanticleer-class submarine rescue ship. Built in the United States and launched in July 1945, the USS Kittiwake served in the U.S. Navy from 1946 until its decommissioning in 1994. During its nearly 5 decades of service, the ship operated in the Caribbean, Mediterranean, Atlantic and Indian Oceans, performing a wide range of duties, including submarine rescue operations, deep-sea recovery missions and supporting naval exercises. The USS Kittiwake also played a role in the recovery operations following the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster in 1986, helping to retrieve debris from the shuttle in the Atlantic Ocean. After its decommissioning in 1994, the ship was repurposed as an artificial reef and was deliberately sunk in 2011. Today, the wreck rests in clear, shallow waters, providing an accessible and fascinating dive site that attracts divers from around the world.
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.